Hey everybody, welcome back to our educational content series. As always, I'm Adam Ringler, and I am trying to take 20 years of strength conditioning knowledge and performance training and give you something that is actionable that you can take away and apply to your life. Now, maybe you're a former athlete. Maybe you're like many of us who have exhausted their college eligibility and you're just trying to transition into your professional days. And if that's you, then welcome back, right? Today, I want to talk about something that often gets glossed over way too often when it comes to nutrition. And that's simply tracking your macronutrients. I see it all the time with our athletes that are either under-consuming nutrients or over-consuming nutrients or somewhere in between. Now, hang on, right? Before you zone out to this video and switch to something else, because I said the word tracking, I'm not here to pitch you some neurotic spreadsheet lifestyle where you have to measure every single almond and cry into your Tupperware, right? That's not it. I just want to explain why it's really worth your time, really focus why it's worth your time to start with one simple thing to track, and that's simply your protein. Now, let me explain why I think that's so important. Most people have no idea how little protein they actually eat. Now, here's the truth. Most people who aren't paying attention to their intake are drastically under eating protein. And likely they're also overeating carbohydrates and fats. Not because they're doing anything wrong, but simply because our modern food environment almost guarantees it. It's set up in a way where the food industry has way too many simple sugars, carbohydrates, and other nutrients packed into the tasty little foods that we eat. Now, the food industry has made it so easy to get fat, to get salt, and sugar. And that's where the margins are. Now, protein, on the other hand, not so much. It's more expensive to produce, it spoils faster, it's less self-stable, and as a result, it's less available, especially in convenience foods, right? So when you go to the grocery market or a gas station or anywhere in between, it's harder to get protein that way. So if you're eating on the go, right, skipping meals or just grabbing whatever's around, odds are you're probably loading up on carbs and fats without even realizing it. And that's kind of the kicker. That's the entire story here. When your protein is low, you're more likely to overeat in general, simply because your body is chasing satiety, right? It wants the nutrients it didn't get in the first place. So when you're under consuming protein, it's asking you to get more protein. However, that then creates this really hunger effect in our body, and you're grabbing for carbs and you're grabbing for fats and you're grabbing for everything in between. So simply just start with protein. You don't have to track every macro at first. You don't even need to count every gram of rice or weigh out, your avocados or anything like that, right? But if you just focus on hitting a daily protein target, you'll start to notice a few things. Number one, you'll stay full longer. Two, you'll probably recover better from your workouts, right? It's shocking how that often works. Three, you'll snack less at night. And four, you'll probably start seeing some changes in your body composition without even changing anything else in your nutrition or your training program. So for most former athletes, a good starting point is, and I've recommended this on a lot of my YouTube videos, is 1 gram per pound of body weight per day, right? So if you weigh 180 pounds, you're probably shooting for somewhere like 180 grams per day. Now that might sound like a lot, but once you start to get the hang of it, it is so manageable, right? You can't sit down at one meal and eat 180 grams of protein. You actually have to have some intentionality about our meals and about our consumption of food and nutrition, right? So eggs for breakfast, chicken or ground turkey at lunch, a protein shake as an afternoon snack. and maybe some chicken breasts or some steak or salmon at dinner, and there you have it. You probably are coming around 180 grams of protein. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is calories in versus calories out. Now, let's zoom out for a second. You've probably heard of this before, calories in versus calories out. And that's the basic equation that determines whether or not your body gains, loses, or maintains your body weight. So when you're trying to make goals one way or one direction or another, that simple formula allows you to really sort of understand, are we gaining weight or are we losing weight? And yeah, it does work. It's not trendy. It's not super complicated, but it's real. Your body is a biological machine. Energy in versus energy out. Those are the two mechanisms that we can control. So if we don't want to control for energy in our system, then we have to increase the energy out in order to create a calorie deficit. Now, we could also, let's say I don't want to manipulate the work that I do and the exertion that I do. You could manipulate the calories into the system, and that could also create a deficit. And you could do both of which in a very controlled and a very calculated manner. Now, the problem is most people aren't tracking either side of the equation. They don't really know how many calories they're eating or consuming, and then they also don't really know the calories that they're expending throughout the day. And because that you're not tracking macros, or you're not tracking your calories, or you're not tracking your nutrition, you're just sort of guessing. And most of us are guessing really poorly, really badly. So monitoring your body mass, even just stepping on a scale once or two times a week, right? And logging that along the side of your calories and your nutrition of what you're doing, that gives you actual data. You can stop guessing. You can actually see patterns developing and understand what's happening and why it's happening. And that's the kind of clarity that oftentimes leads to better decision making, less frustration, and way more control over your progress. But it's almost impossible to do that if you are not monitoring either side. So calories in via, a nutritional app like MacroFactor in one aspect, or monitoring your caloric expenditure through an Apple Watch or Garmin or anything else, or logbook where you're tracking your workouts. So I do want to talk about something, why protein actually matters for your body composition and your metabolism. So let's get to the benefit of why I think eating enough protein is so crucial. And it comes down to one word, and that's muscle. So protein is literally what builds and repairs your muscle tissue, right? Every time that you lift, you run, you do train, whatever you might do, you're creating micro damage in that muscle. And simply put, protein helps repair it, makes it stronger, and builds it back up. Now, more muscle means better body composition. Everybody wants more muscle, right? We talk about Peter Attia on the Drive podcast talks about it. Every podcaster is talking about longevity and why muscle mass is so important. Now, selfishly, right, you probably look leaner even if the scale doesn't move. So that's cool. Your clothes fit better. That's awesome. You move better. That's even better. You feel stronger. Everybody wants that. So where's the downside of having more muscle? Here's the bonus that a lot of people overlook. Muscle mass actually increases your metabolism. So muscle is way more. It is more metabolically active than fat tissue. And that means that your body burns more calories just by sitting still. You're not even doing anything and your body is burning more calories. So what an awesome benefit of gaining muscle mass is that you also increase the thermogenesis in your body actually burning fat. So when you build muscle, you're kind of raising your baseline burn. You don't even have to do extra cardio, no conditioning, anything else. You don't have to cut food. You just burn more calories 24/7 because your engine essentially is running hotter. And you know what helps preserve that muscle, especially when you're trying to change your body composition or lose body fat? I know you can guess it. It's protein. So it's a simple equation. It's so simple, guys. if you want to keep your muscle and lose any sort of body fat, now that we're getting a little bit older and we're, a former athlete, we're not in our college days anymore, protein has to be high. Otherwise, your body just starts to chew into the hard sort of work that you've done to build the muscle mass that you got in the first place. So what should you actually do? Like, give me real world prescriptions, Adam, right, if you will. Let's try to land this plane with some simple takeaways. 1, track your protein. Don't worry about being perfect. You don't have to be exactly to the gram. Just get a ballpark number and aim to hit that number consistently throughout your days and throughout your weeks. 2, don't trust your hunger cues. Especially in today's food environment, protein helps regulate that. 3, watch your weight trends. Maybe step on a scale every once in a while, right? And see how your body responds. 4, build and protect muscle. That's important. Lift consistently. Give your body what it needs to recover. And then I'd say maybe 5, if you're hitting your protein and you're lifting and you're staying aware of your calorie intake, you're going to be way ahead of the curve. So monitor your calories in and your calories out and see and watch that weight trend. Now, this isn't about forever tracking, right? You don't have to do this every single day, every single week for the rest of your life. It's just about learning how your body works and then using that feedback to make smarter choices. You're using data to inform actions to make smarter decisions. Now, that's going to be it for this video. I just really want to dive in deep on sort of the protein and the macro tracking and the muscle building and how that affects sort of maybe body composition. Now, if that helped you, or you even took one thing away from this video, what I want you to do is I want you to hit the like button. I need it. I'm going to be honest with you. I need you to hit the like button. Also, I need you to subscribe, and maybe even if you're feeling extra spicy, drop a comment down below, because I am always down to hear what you guys are thinking. And if you're a former athlete, if you played at the college level and you want to train like one again, I'm going to ask you to check out the Former Athlete Society on Skool, Skool. You can find more information about our Skool community at adamringler.com/Skool, Skool. And I invite you to check out that website. You will find all of the information on our leaderboard, our discussion board, all of our continuing education content. I record it, I post it there. It's exclusively for our Skool members site, so it's not always published publicly on YouTube. And you can check some of that information at the Skool site. And hey, you know what? If you participate there and you leave comments and you engage with the community, there's a great chance that you could be the #1 monthly participant in our engagement there. And you can get free training from me to you every single month. So check it out. You can find the Former Athlete Society at Skool, Skool.com, or adamringler.com/Skool. So until next time, stay strong, keep training hard, keep working hard, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks.